All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 5:30. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda will be the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Pastor Ramsey from Harvest Worship Center giving the invocation tonight.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we're so very thankful for community. We just ask you to lead us and guide us in all our decisions. Help us always consider our neighbor, and we thank you for the blessing of life. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Pastor Ramsey, thank you for your support, sir. All right. With that, next on the agenda, additions, deletions, and modification of agenda.
Mayor, if we may.
Yes, sir.
Can we add discussion on city manager at some with an agenda item?
Say that item one more time.
Discussion on the city manager.
Okay, city manager discussion. Yes, sir.
That's specific to the selection of the city manager?
Yes, selection. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
I'd like to add what I brought up at last meeting about discussion about public commentary and possibility of having a town hall once a month.
All right, public commentary. Any other proposed additions?
Mayor, we need to add a discussion on the Charter Review Committee and deliverables that you all would like to request from them with a timeline.
Charter Review Committee deliverables. All right. So recounting what I've just heard from the rest of the team, a city manager process update, public commentary, revisit, discussion, and then Charter Review Committee deliverables / way ahead. Is everyone amenable with that? Bueller? Cool. All right. Well, next we have a ARC presentation. Or do we need to vote on that clarification? Do we need to vote for the amendments? All right. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda as discussed?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes, sir. All right. 5-0 and passes. Thank you for the 3 deletion or modifications. Fourth on the agenda is an ARC presentation by Mr. Ron Sharp.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Ron Sharp, President and CEO for the Arc of the Bay. Hoping to just come by and share some good news, free services for the residents here in the city of Lynn Haven. We are partnering again with AARP Tax Aid Foundation. We've done it for 3 years. We're going to be doing it again starting tomorrow. We're located, of course, on 1804 Carolina Avenue. We're doing it on Wednesdays for 5 hours from 2 in the afternoon to 7 p.m. Starting tomorrow, we'll be going through each Wednesday all the way through April the 8th. Reason why I wanted to come by and just share with you is because the preparers are IRS trained tax preparers. There's no charge for it. And everybody's trying to make sure that they're spending the money wisely, making good decisions when it comes to cost. And so your employees here in the city of Lynn Haven could come by and get their taxes done free. I want to run some numbers for you just so you know the economic impact of what we've been able to do over the last 3 years. Again, 5 hours a day or 5 hours on Wednesdays during the tax season. The average cost to do a tax return is anywhere between $220 to up to $600. Over the last 5 years, we have processed 446 returns. With the past 2 years of that 446, we've been averaging about 180. The total earned income tax credits, almost 44,000. The total refund amount that's going right back into our economy is $371,000. The total amount saved by the service would come to about $98,000. We're no heroes. You know, in the nonprofit world, the community gives to us. We just found that this was a way that we could try to give back to the residents here in the city of Lynn Haven. So again, I think you have the flyers. If you could just share it with your associates, we'd love to be able to. Yes, sir. We'd love to continue to do that. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp, for what
Thank
y'all
you.
are doing. All right. With that, we now have moved on to the consent agenda. So we have 3 items on the consent agenda, and they are number 5, approval of the meetings for our last meeting, which is January 29th. We have 2, the appointment of Johnny Bashir to the Finance Review Committee to replace Mr. McCangry, who resigned. And this is Commissioner Perno's nominee to the Finance Review Committee. And then number 7, to declare Lynn Haven Fire Department Mobile Air Unit as surplus and auction off to government deals. So those are the 3 items on the consent agenda. Any concerns or issues about approving that unanimous consent? Do we have any comments for these 3 items from the public at large before we move forward?
I make a motion, we approve.
All right.
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes. All right, consent agenda passes. Congratulations, Mr. Bashir. Look forward to having you on the Finance Committee and putting your eagle eyes to good use. All right. With that, old business. So I'm going to turn this over to the city attorney for the Paul Harvey rest of the story here for a moment, but it's a public hearing. It's actually a redo of our first reading. We didn't get the paperwork exactly perfectly right, so we are going to resubmit to the state, and we will have to do a vote tonight, but this is just a formal yes vote by the commission to actually transmit the paperwork to the state. So this is a redo admin process. So with that, Amy, would you like to explain?
You did a great job. I'm going to let Chris read the ordinance by title, and then if you want to open up the public hearing, I can explain why we're having it again.
Okay, fair.
An ordinance of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, amending the city's comprehensive plan to implement the evaluation and appraisal report required by Section 163.3191 Florida statutes, amending elements to meet the requirements of Section 163.3177 Florida statutes, basing the amendments upon permanent and seasonal population estimates and projections, published by the Office of Economic and Demographic Research for a 10-year and 20-year planning period, amending Chapter 1, the Future Land Use Element Goal 1, Objective 2, Policy 2-1-04, adding group homes, amending Objective 10, Natural Resource Protection Policy 10-3, develop and maintain a stormwater master plan, amending Chapter 3, Housing Element to update policies, amending Chapter 4, Infrastructure Element to update policies, continued provision of facilities to meet existing and projected demands, amending Chapter 5, Coastal Management Element Goal 1, Objective 3, Policy 3-6 to include the requirements of the Deer Point Protection Zone, and adding Goal 3, Objectives 1-7, preparing, adapting, mitigating, and managing climate change impacts in compliance with Section 380.093, Subsection 3, Florida statutes related to sea level rise, amending Chapter 7, Recreation Open Space Element Goal 1, Objective 1 to update population projections and facility provision, amending Chapter 9, Capital Improvements Element Goal 1, Objective 8, Figure 9-1, Schedule of Capital Improvements for the 5 and 10-year planning period, including projected revenue sources to ensure the availability of public facilities needed to maintain adopted level of service standards, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Catch your breath. So this is a public hearing to for reading and transmittal to the state. This is essentially a do-over of the exact same hearing we had at your very last meeting, but we're doing it again to correct a notice issue. The notice required for this public hearing is pretty particular. It's set by the statute, and we felt like our first notice had some flaws, and so that this didn't get defeated a second time, we thought we'd get ahead of it, have you do a second reading, bless the transmittal under the new notice. We'll send it to the state, and in 6 months, it will come back to you. In approximately 6 months, once it's been reviewed by all of the state agencies, it'll come back to you for adoption again.
So with that being said, members of the audience, y'all have heard what we just did. This is administrative in nature. Yes, ma'am. You can't hear me? I'm terribly sorry, ma'am. I did not realize y'all couldn't hear me. Can you hear me now? All right. So what Ms. Myers just said, were y'all able to hear Mr. Lightfoot with his reading? Okay, so what we did is we are doing an official redo of the first reading. And what this is we are submitting this paperwork in compliance with the state to the state for review, and they will come back in roughly 180 days. Once the state agencies coordinate on this, they'll come back and re-engage with us. We went over this and we all approved it 5-0 in our last commission meeting. We did not do proper notice. We only gave 6 days notice instead of 7. So we did an official redo here to make this right. This isn't a controversial thing. It's more ministerial in nature, but we need to do it the right way to check the boxes and transmit the information to the state. So that is what this is. If any member of the community wants to step up and discuss, feel free. But I do not anticipate this being controversial at all. It's basic administrative paperwork. So hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a quick draw and a third there. Good deal. Interim City Manager, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes. All right, passes 5-0. All right, can y'all still hear me okay now? I've got the microphone literally right under my lips, so short of that, I can start screaming for y'all, but that's about all I can do. All right, good deal. All right, new business. We're on to number 9 for those of you following on the agenda with us. It's a discussion and possible approval of voting of 2 new members from the applications received for the planning board.
So, Mayor, we are trying to get into 2026, and we have opened up the applications online to submit the forms, and it will come to me. However, we did have a slight hiccup. We had a person submit an application that went to a spam folder. So I'm going to ask that you all discuss tabling this item so that you all can review the one application that was submitted on time, however, was in my spam folder for you all to review, and we vote on this at the next meeting.
So we can do that. Now, we actually have 2 seats up for the planning board tonight. I would actually kind of do a Solomon act with you and kind of split the baby down the middle there, so to speak. And what I mean by that is one of those seats, this commission, aside from myself, the rest of you guys and ladies were here. There were 2 individuals up for appointment, a Mr. Doolittle and a Mr. Clubs. And Mr. Clubs was recommended by Commissioner Warwick. The other 4 voted for Mr. Doolittle. The agreement made, and it was reflected in the commission meeting minutes, was that this commission basically promised the next position we have open on this board, we like you, you're well qualified, you're an active volunteer, we will appoint you to the next available position. So what I'd like to do, since there's 2 positions and there are 5 or 6 applications in total, if you guys and lady are still good with that, I would like to honor this commission's prior promissory note to Mr. Club, appoint him to 1 seat, and then consider all of the other applicants that applied during the normal time period, including the one that had the technical hiccup, that did apply during the normal time period. And let's consider those 5 or 6 applicants for the second seat next meeting.
So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with this because, as you guys probably know, I was not in agreement with this last time we talked about this. I don't think that we should promise people because you got seniority, you're the next in line. So is this the last one that we're doing that with? Is that what we're all understanding? This is the last one we do that with?
Yeah, that's fine, except I will caveat that by saying the club's thing was not a seniority thing. That was different. We all agreed with you that, or at least I agreed with you that we didn't want to do the seniority thing last time. Clubs was someone that put an application in at the same time. He was not been, so we had 2 people that we both thought were really qualified, and we agreed to go ahead and say that clubs could have the next one. It wasn't like a seniority thing, like you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, but I also will continue to agree with what you're saying right now.
So I thought it was because of the Board of Adjustments.
No, he just happened to be on the Board of Adjustment, but he wanted to be on planning. The main reason he applied for Board of Adjustment is because he was under the impression that that was the stepping stone anyways.
Okay.
That's how our former city manager had it set up. She said people went off the Board of Adjustments to the planning board.
Yeah,
And we didn't like that because we didn't say one board is a board in waiting for another.
that should have never happened, in my opinion. So I just want to make sure that this is the last one that we do that with.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Campbell?
I make a motion that we accept Mr. Clubs.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Ooh.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
And Mayor, I'm going to pass the application of Mr. Evans down just so you all have it to review in time, but we will also send it digitally in the packet next time as well.
Thank you.
Do we need to make a separate motion on the second one, or was that part of that?
Well,
Okay.
We can just agree to table it.
all right.
You can table it by consensus. You don't need a motion and a second on that.
So we approved one and we tabled the second appointment until the next meeting in 2 weeks so that the one person who submitted through the new e-application, his application actually gets reviewed by the commission along with everyone else who submitted it the old-fashioned way that worked. So hopefully that was the one kink we'll have with this new board volunteer system. All right. Thank y'all for that. Next, we have number 10 on the agenda item, discussion and possible approval of resolution 26-02-518, agreement with EPSS for replacement catwalk at Digester 4 at ATW.
A resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, approving an agreement with EPSS Supply and Fabrication, LLC, relating to the demolition and reconstruction of stairs and catwalk at the city's wastewater treatment plant in the total amount of $52,250. Mayor, last year we had a storm roll through and do some damage to the fiberglass catwalk at Digester 4 at the wastewater treatment plant. That catwalk was original from 1996, 1998 timeframe. We did receive an insurance check of $48,855.49. Staff reached out. They got 3 quotes, and per our procurement policy, this is part of the utilities deal, so it doesn't have to go out to sealed bids. It's just a 3-quote process since it's under $100,000.
Okay, thank you for that. I will tell the audience here with us tonight, as well as my fellow commissioners, I went out last week and toured this waste facility with the interim city manager, and the fiberglass is in horrible shape. It's 30 years old, very sun-faded. I was literally scraping fiberglass burrs out of my hands for 3 days. It was that bad, and I only held the banister going down like twice and still just got ate up with it. The fiberglass is actually structurally weakening. You can tell it's faded and it's very wonky. It's unsafe. I wouldn't want my kids climbing on that, much less workers. So we definitely need to get that replaced with metal, rigid, safe steps going up that particular piece of equipment and bay in the waste treatment facility. So, any other comments among the commission?
No, sir.
Yeah.
I make a motion we accept.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. We'll ask if there are any public comments on that before we move forward. This is largely a safety thing with 30-year-old fiberglass steps that are woefully unsafe and need to be replaced at our wastewater treatment facility.
Before we vote, I just wanted to make a quick comment because from meeting with interim city manager, he informed me that this was budgeted for the full amount, but now since we got insurance,
Yes, sir. We did not anticipate getting insurance reimbursement for this, so we did budget it this fiscal year. However, the insurance company did wind up paying the $48,855 for it.
right? So we're only paying a net, with the budget, with crediting the budget, so to speak, we're only paying a net
Just under $6,000 out of the budget.
Yeah,
Yes,
just
sir.
under $6,000.
So for those of you in the back, could y'all hear that? Okay. I'm making sure now. Y'all got me paranoid. I want to make sure y'all can hear. Now, if I start singing, you won't want to hear, I promise. But short of that, we'll be okay. Make sure y'all hear. All right, so we've got a resolution in the second, or excuse me, a motion in the second. No public commentary. So interim city manager, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes. All right. Next, number 11 on the agenda, first reading only of ordinance 1185, amending the code of ordinance to prohibit smoking and vaping in city parks. And now we have the city attorney listed as the primary discusser for this, but I also asked Commissioner Peoples if he would like to discuss as well, because this was actually his initiative, and he said sure. So Commissioner, I'm going to turn over to you first and then to the city attorney.
Mayor, let me read the ordinance real quick. An ordinance of the City Commission of Lynn Haven, Florida, amending the city's code of ordinances to prohibit smoking and vaping in city parks, repealing ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
All right, thanks. So I'm at the ballparks all the time, and I noticed that the sign says no smoking, and then it listed an ordinance. So I dug into it a little bit. I got curious because I'm just a curious person, and I read the ordinance, and I believe it was 2019-ish was when the no smoking and I think they amended the ordinance to add no vaping to the no smoking. But the issue that I saw was that when it was amended to say no vaping, it said no vaping where you can't smoke, which makes total sense why they did that. However, if you go even further back, it doesn't say where you can't smoke. So how can you, in my opinion, if you're going to enforce an ordinance, the ordinance needs to be clearly understandable to the people that are reading it or getting in trouble for not following it. So I asked that we update this ordinance to actually say where it is that you're not allowed to smoke, just so that there's less confusion for the citizens, less confusion for the code enforcement or whoever is enforcing the no smoking. So that's what this is. Our attorney did a great job of going in there and updating the ordinance to where it specifically says where you cannot smoke. Got feedback from Ty and some of the other parks people to make sure that it looked good, and I'm happy with it.
Thank you for that. Ms. Myers.
This ordinance is limited in scope to city parks because that is all that the state legislature allows you to regulate. The regulation of smoking generally is preempted to the state, but you do have a pass for city parks. So for that reason, it doesn't apply to all city-owned property. It's only limited to city parks.
Y'all all heard that in the back, right? This is limited just to city parks. The state controls pretty much everything else where you can and can't smoke, but we do have say in city-owned parks. Any public commentary regarding this from the public? Hearing none, we are moving right along tonight. Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
First reading.
My bad.
My apologies. So this was just a first reading. No problem. All right. Any other discussion from the commission on that one? No? Hearing none. We'll move on to item number 12, discussion only about the city hiring a new building official. And Commissioner Tender, this is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. I checked with Kiki last week and found out that we spend approximately $85,000 in 1 year, fiscal year, for permitting and building official duties. And then this year, I believe we're in the middle of the year, and we're up to 75 or something like that. Oh, okay, 56. Anyway, I would like to have this commission entertain the idea of having our own building official so that we don't have to depend on Bay County and wait for permits. I've been involved with a project that waited months for a permit to come out of the city. I do have to say, to be totally transparent, I would highly recommend Mike Gordon. Mike was the best building official we've ever had, in my opinion. He's honest, he's quick, and again, in my opinion, the city falsely arrested him, falsely fired him, cost him a fortune, and Mike does not want to work for the city. He doesn't want to be a city employee. He would like to report to the commission. I would like him to report to the commission. But I think it would be a smart way to get our own building official on board and have things done the way they used to be done. And I can tell you from personal experience, after Michael, I will never forget this part because I was at the treasure ship on a Friday night at 8 o'clock. A lady called me. Something had fallen off her roof. I called Mike and he said, I'll go right over. And he went over there at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. And I think he's very dedicated to the job. And he, like I said, he's not looking for a ton of hours. He's not looking for a ton of pay. And I would just like the commission to entertain the idea because right now we're way behind on our building official capacities. I don't know how, we've been using Bay County for quite some time now, haven't we?
Mayor, if I may. So the reason we're behind on permits is we did have a death in our building department permit family. We do not wait on the county. We are still cutting all the permits and everything. Utilizing the county is not a holdup at all on any of our delays. We have been using the county for the building official and building inspector role. It is working out great. We're actually been working with the county building department and the legal team to bring you all an updated agreement. We have had the building official position advertised for a number of months. Ms. Hodges had, I believe, 3 on board that had used the job offer to accept either another position or utilize it for leverage in their current position to increase their wages. It is working much more efficient to have the county take over our building department and handle everything. If we do go to a private vendor, if that's what the commission so desires, and Ms. Myers can weigh in, but we would have to go out to an RFQ. If it was going to be a permanent deal for a company, we would not just be able to hire someone directly unless it was on a temporary basis.
So I remember, it was quite a while back, I brought this up because one of the feedbacks I got from some of the developers and that is when they originally submit their applications, the initial stage takes a while because of the way the system that we use. And from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but the county has a different system and it's all online. And that way the contractor can go and submit their stuff and it helps speed up the process.
Yes,
I
sir.
got that right?
Yes, sir. So part of the discussions we've been having with Bay County and hopefully bringing this to you all for approval, we would, if you all accepted the updated agreement, we would go on Bay County's online permitting service. And that would mean everybody could submit everything online. It would be a much more efficient process, and everyone that utilized the county would be utilizing the same thing. So it wouldn't be that Lynn Haven had its own permitting process online. It would be under the counties. We would possibly adopt their building fees for the inspections, and everything would run seamlessly through that.
Because I remember one of the things I talked to our last building official about is what would it take to go to a different system. And the problem was you had to keep the old system as far as keeping the records and that. So you had to you didn't pay the full amount, but you still had to pay them a certain amount on top of a new system to try to update it. And to me, this is a better avenue as far as utilizing their system because it's an up-to-date system compared to ours.
Yes, sir. And Ms. Tender, I believe that the numbers you're looking at are a little skewed because last year, part of the fiscal year, we did have a building official, and then part of the year we went out to the county. This fiscal year, we have been 100% to Bay County.
Okay, thank you.
Any other commission comments or questions?
When was the last time we had someone in that role here at the city?
The last position was Mr. Van Adder. When did he leave?
2025. Average cost for a building official, because they're quite unique with the certifications, exceed over $100,000. An effective rate would be close to $200,000. And for a city our size and the amount of building, we'd need an inspector as well. So you're talking about two, and a floodplain coordinator and administrator. The county does provide all those services.
And what was the number you were anticipating it's costing us by using the county instead?
It varies. They take 80%. So if we bring in $10,000, they take $8,000.
I see.
Mr. Perno, you have any questions, sir?
I spoke to interim city manager about this, and the viewpoint I get is that we're more efficient using the county. Now, if there's a need to RFQ and see if we can do it a better way, I mean, I'd entertain that. I don't think I would entertain one individual to consider because it's not the purchasing process. You know what I mean? So that's for us to decide. And I understand what Commissioner Tender's bringing to us, and I'd consider an RFQ if it was better than the efficiency that we have right now. So we've got to take a look at that. So
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have a quick question. This is a new topic for me, so I'm curious. And Commissioner Tender, I think what you're getting at, ma'am, is you're looking for that organic city level responsiveness and capability that we may or may not get with the county for kind of emergency situations like you're talking about 8 o'clock on a Friday night kind of thing, right? Would there be any potential for the construct we have now where we basically turn this over to the county? The county does this for us, where we would have some kind of city qualified RFQ kind of, I don't know a better term other than a reservist, basically an on-call auxiliary or backup, or even keep a couple of skilled city backup people who can be qualified through the county and support them kind of as a surge kind of thing?
It would not make any financial sense to hire a consultant to keep on standby. If we ran into a situation, the county has answered immediately.
Okay.
We haven't had an issue where we were waiting on them.
And it's not like we only have, if we use the county, it's only one person. If that person's not there, they have other people they can go to.
Yes, sir, they have a complete staff.
Right.
How big is this staff, by the way?
I am
Any
not sure.
ballpark? Like a dozen people, a couple dozen people?
The county has quite a vast building department. I'm not sure of the number of staff they have.
Robust capability anyway.
Yes, sir. We have not ran into an issue with waiting on them.
Deadlines, once an approved application has been submitted. The problem is there are a lot of steps set by state statute. So if you feel like it took a long time from when you first applied, but if you didn't complete all the steps the state requires, the time frame starts over. And so that building official and that inspection process has a finite time period, but it's only when an application is submitted properly and completely. And the county tracks that to the numbers.
Well, for the record, I am not opposed to us getting an organic capability back for our own building custodian, or excuse me, building inspector. But if what we have is currently working, if we can augment that with our own capability, let's look at it. If we can't, and it would be expensive and redundant, then we won't. But if we can add value there and have our own folks in the process, I'm more than clear for us to relook at this.
Let me also add, I asked Kiki to pull up the last time we had a contract building official. Is that a year? For 2 years or 1 year that you're showing me the figure? Okay, 2 years gross was $314,343.
So expense.
It's expensive.
Any idea how many hours that was or how many inspections that was? Does it say?
His contract was a percentage
Okay.
of the permit cost, correct?
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the financial aspect is going to be vastly different if we go to the county versus if we do it to the city, because the building, the building fund is a fund that you can't make a profit.
Correct.
Do I have that right?
That is right.
Correct.
So I don't know if it's so much a more financially efficient. I think it's more operationally efficient.
That is correct.
Am I correct to say that?
Yes, sir.
I feel that it has been operationally efficient of how the county has been handling it. The only issues that we've ran into in the building department have been our own internal issues, nothing to do with what the county is doing.
For the record, Commissioner Tender, I think it's a good idea to look at. We need to continuously be looking at how we can improve our operations, and where it makes sense, we certainly need to discuss and look at all possible options. I'll dig into this further, and this is something we can revisit in the future, ma'am, if that's okay with you.
Oh, of course, it's okay. My thing, when I see 8,000 going, we're giving them 8,000 out of 10. And I keep thinking, well, we could use that 8,000, but
But keep in mind, we would be paying someone, so we wouldn't be keeping that 8,000. We would be paying salary to the people we're hiring. So it's not that we're losing $8,000. We're just paying them to do it versus paying our own person to do it.
right.
So on
But I
one
would
end-
like, oh, go ahead. I would like to look at what the mayor said as far as how do we even know, go out with an RFQ, see what a building official will do it for,
Well, you
rather
said-
than, you know.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Didn't you say y'all had done, y'all had 3 proposals, or you had 3 volunteers? You said you had 3, looked like some type of
So
advertisement?
we had 3 applicants when the position was advertised
Okay, and how long ago was that?
a few months ago.
Okay.
Offer that was accepted and then rejected was the summer. And it was in excess of $100,000 to come on board.
I'll tell you what, our Commissioner Tender, I'm going to get smart on this topic, and I'll revisit it with you and the team here in a future meeting when I get smart on it. And we'll take a look and see if there's any way we can make that more efficient. But I'm glad to hear the county is helping us and doing right by us now. So we'll revisit that if that's okay with you.
That's great.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, any more discussion before we move on? All right, so we're now at 13. We're at public commentary. So we have,
We have additions.
oh, we're going to do those. My apologies. We do have 3 more. So the first one is the city manager update. So Gerard, you mind coming up here, sir?
I can help for
Okay.
Gerard. You have all turned in your ballots to shortlist a city candidate. There were 4 candidates that 2 or more of you had on your list. So now staff needs direction on what to do next and how you would like to proceed in time interviews. Specifically, we need to reach out to those 4 candidates. Did everybody get a spreadsheet of the 4 candidates? Do you even know?
No.
Okay, the 4 candidates, give me a minute. I'll pull up my spreadsheet.
Well, before you announce any names, I'd actually like for all of us to be able to see the spreadsheet, kind of the totals, and whoever, bless you, and who voted for, who voted for who to move forward. And let's take a look at, you're talking about 4 key overlaps, but of the others, so there's 5 of us that voted. Was there one individual beyond those four, as we're kind of trying to establish a cut line here, where 3 of the 5 of us or 4 of the 5 of us had this other person on there? I want to kind of get a feel for who's who in the zoo, so to speak, rack and stack.
And we can provide you a copy of that spreadsheet. Would you like me to still give you the top 4?
Commission, how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all want to name names tonight, or do you want to review the consolidated rack and stack and try to get to an agreeable cut line for interviews?
Regardless of whether you decide on the short list tonight, although that would be preferable, I would still like to have you direct staff on, once you create your short list, how do we proceed next? Do you want to, I think we need to reach out to all of them and make sure they're still interested, because some of them are from the first tranche, and it's been several months.
Right.
Do you want to do Zoom interviews for 4 or even 5 if you want to create a short list of that? How many do you want to bring to town to travel and do in-person interviews? And what is your timeline to select a city manager? This is your decision, and so I don't want to push you into it, but since it's never on the agenda, I do feel like I need to nudge you along.
Mayor, if I could ask this, I think in the spirit of transparency, everybody in this room needs to hear who's on that list.
Okay.
I mean, that's...
Top 4 are, so before names are actually mentioned here, you have a top 4 list, but so we all could submit up to 10 names each, right? So you have a top 4 where you said at least 4 of the 5 of us had those names on the list. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I have a ranking of, altogether you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There were 14 names submitted across all of you. There were 4 names that at least 2 or more of you shared. So that's where you had overlap. There were one candidate that had 4 of you agreed on. There was another candidate that 3 of you agreed on. And then the others, at least 2 of you agreed on. But yes, I agree. You should see the spreadsheet, and I'm sorry I'm speaking in the abstract. You want me to just read the names of the top 4 or in order?
I would say if they got 3 or more commissioner support, those were the names you would go with. Because just like if we're up here voting on something, 3 commissioners, it passes, right? Is that the right way to look at that?
So how many people would we be looking at if you had 3 commissioners not put that individual on the list, their list? How many would that leave us?
Phone a friend, but I think the answer is 2. There are only 2 that have 3 or more of you identified.
Didn't we talk about doing like a point system?
We did points.
Okay.
We assigned points. So I can give you a ranking of the top 4 or 5 based on the point system, but based on how many of you voted for the same people, you've got 2 that 3 or more of you voted on.
Would y'all be good with the top 5?
That's fine.
Let's hear who those are.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. All right. Gerard, you want me to do it, or do you feel comfortable doing it? Okay. You tell me if I'm wrong. All right. The top 5 in order of highest points would be Christopher Lightfoot, Jonathan Rory, Roger Omenheiser, Zach Detweiler, and Rebecca Hart. Did I get that right? Okay. I can say it one more time, yes. Chris Lightfoot, Jonathan Rory, Roger Omenheiser, Zach Detweiler, Rebecca Hart.
Okay. Thank you for that. Commission, pulse of your thought, initial, what I will call first blush thoughts here. Potential Zoom, go ahead and have HR call, Gerard call, and see if they're still, confirm they're still interested, and availability over the next 3 to 4 weeks to meet with us. Do Zoom calls at least with the top 5 and try to narrow it down to the top 3, assuming all 5 are still interested. And then seek to interview the top 3 in person. Would that be acceptable to y'all?
I'm good with that.
Yes, that's kind of where I was leaning, so that works.
Commissioner Perno?
I have an opinion that's different from everybody, so I'll just keep my mouth shut.
No, please.
I'm of a different opinion, but if we're going to go ahead and bring people in and interview them, that's fine.
Well, that's just,
That's-
what are you
that's-
thinking? Please.
I'm thinking that we have a guy down there at the end. I think that you're on your term of office is till April of '27. We have an interim city manager, whether we want to keep him as interim city manager for a one-year contract to coincide with the next election, that would be one way of doing it, or give the man a contract for 1 year and see what's up and leave him at his current salary or however want to do it, and then give him a review after a year and let's move forward. We have a new mayor, we have a new police chief. Let's keep the city moving the way it's going and take a look at things in 12 months. So that's my feeling.
Commissioner Tender, Ward, have any comments to add?
I'm of the opinion to look at all of them, and I'm going to select whoever I feel is the best one. You know, I think, I'll just say that.
Ditto. I think we should look at all of them.
For the record, Commissioner Perno, I respect your opinion very much, sir. And I don't disagree with you that the interim city manager's done a great job. But I do think in the transparency and fairness, we need to run the tape here, and we need to go through the top 5. I'm not surprised he's in the top 5. I'm not surprised he's actually racked and stacked at the top of the list. But we have some other very, very impressive candidates. And I think we need to do our due diligence, just be transparent and consistent and fair about it. And we'll see where we land there. But I would not be shocked at all that Mr. Lightfoot will be incredibly competitive. He's doing a great job in the interim. And that's a very, very tough position to be in. So there's really no voting action for that. It was just kind of a discussion tonight.
I think we just got to determine a date to do Zoom meetings with those 5 candidates.
So if Jennifer and Gerard can coordinate with you on the timing of those, I think the idea is to get the Zoom interviews done in one day. And then I suppose we could do that in the next 2 weeks so that at your next meeting, you could determine your top 3 that we need to bring in to travel for an in-person interview. And that would potentially allow for a selection in March.
Okay.
I do believe there's 3 are local. I think. Could be wrong.
And maybe no one has to travel if those are your top 3, but.
Well, Lightfoot and Detweiler are local.
So is Hart.
Hart is local. Already look at that. Hauser, he was in Miami, I believe. And Rory is North Carolina? No, Pennsylvania.
I think it's North Carolina,
One of the 2.
Pinehurst maybe.
Okay, yeah. So 2 are definitely out of state.
And I would recommend that the commission on the Zoom that all, even if they're local, all applicants should appear by Zoom so that it's equal.
That's fair. So I'm new, obviously, 3 weeks to the day, so excuse the new guy question, but how do we do that Zoom in a public, transparent way in accordance with Sunshine on the 5 of us? How does that work? 'Cause I haven't seen that done before.
I've worked a schedule. You all 5 would probably have to commit a whole day, and we'd have to have basically 5 different Zooms going per hour, so that you're moving and seeing different ones. You cannot be in the same room, and you cannot discuss your interview. In one case, working on that, I logistically would suggest that there's either Gerard or myself or someone else there with you, just to make sure the key is you're asking the same questions of all 5 or similar questions of all 5 applicants. That doesn't mean that Commissioner Tender has to ask the same questions as Commissioner Warwick, but Commissioner Tender will ask the same questions to the 5. So that's consistent. So you're comparing apples to apples.
And what
It
if-
can be done.
And what about the public? When do they get to see those interviews?
Well, I think in this one, you're still going through and trying to decide your top candidates, and it would not be at a Zoom. At some point, if you go to a in-person, there's ways to do it where you bring the public in, where you can ask for their input for questions. You can hold it as a public meeting where they are observing your on-bank, your group interview. And I think that Amy's also got some recommendations for that as well.
So the public can be involved in, will absolutely be involved in the process when y'all come together to discuss your shortlist and your ultimate selection. The public has a right to view that process. The Sunshine Law doesn't cover you on your one-on-one Zoom interviews, and so the public would not be entitled or invited even to attend those Zoom interviews. But they could hear your feedback when you come together to go from 5 to 2 or 3. When you get to the in-person, as Jennifer said, you can do one-on-ones. You can schedule you don't have to do one-on-ones. You could do group interviews, as she said, so that the public can be there for the whole process. Because where 2 or more of you are together talking about the city manager or to an applicant, the Sunshine Law does apply, and we do need to notice that as a meeting. So there are a couple of options for how you involve them. You can also do one-on-one interviews. You can have a meet and greet reception. You can invite the applicants to speak and present to you for 3 or 5 minutes, whether or not you do a dialogue or any questioning of them in that meeting. Again, it's up to you. This is your process. You get to say, but we can give you lots of options, but we need you to tell us which one you like best and how you'd like to see it executed.
So I think the way this is going to happen is we got the list of 5. We each do one-on-one Zoom meeting with each applicant, and after that, we determine our short list of, or may only be, one person, depending on how those go, because you could possibly go do those Zoom interviews and you're like, man, there's only one, or maybe it's very competitive and now you got it down to 2 or 3. So when you get it down to 2 or 3, I think that's when you do it in a public setting where they might be down here below the dais and it's open to the public and we ask questions and the public can ask questions. Do I understand that right?
That is one way you can do it, yes.
I'm thinking one thing that we need to discuss in our next meeting after we have the Zoom as well is we need to determine the number of the short list specifically. You know what I'm saying? Because like you were saying, it could be that there's only one, but all 5 of these could be extremely strong too. So maybe we don't want to set the number to 3 today. We'd set the number next meeting of the ones that we want to do in person.
So
I
maybe,
mean, after we do the Zoom meeting.
Correct, yeah.
That's fine.
so initial round and final round of interviews, how is that in terms of terminology instead of top 5 and top 3? If all 5 are amazing, then we need to interview all 5.
Yeah, that's fine.
And just one clarification, Ms. Myers, I am not opposed to having a member or 2 of the public sit in on a Zoom meeting with me as I do the initial interviews. I mean, I'm all about transparency. We obviously need to have a public, when we get to the second round, we will obviously have that public interaction. Is there anything that precludes me having a flyer or 2 on the wall from the public per se as I do the initial interview, just in the spirit of transparency, as long as they stay with me for all 5? They can't do one interview with me and then run to the others and go, hey, Mayor Lowry's asking this, be ready, right? But if I have, say, 2 people from the public sit in on the Zoom meeting with me and just listen as I do my interviews, is that acceptable or legally permissible?
I think it's legally permissible. Your flies on the wall do need to understand that if they were to communicate to any other commissioner what they saw or heard, they would in fact be violating the Sunshine as a liaison.
Okay.
I'm all with you, Mayor, as far as I want as much transparency to this
Yes, ma'am.
as we can have.
Well, I'd like to try to do that. And commissioners, I would ask y'all consider that. I'm not going to try to dictate that to the rest of the team, but if it's permissible, I'd like to. And I'll seek out volunteers and have a couple, and they can report after the fact to the public, yep, I sat through all 5 initial Zoom interviews with Mayor Lowry, and these are my takeaways. And that just improves transparency there. They can say, yep, he asked the same questions, the same 4 or 5 questions or whatever, and all of them. And I was really impressed with this person or this person. And they can kind of give their opinion after the fact, but they wouldn't be able to interject during the interview.
My concern would be this, and actually you can probably relate to this when another city manager was interviewed, that you'd be asking those questions, and if you have someone from the public there, and if they're a proponent of one of the other applicants, they could tell them the questions. That would be my concern. And if I'm out of the line for thinking that, tell me. But
No,
that's what
that's
I'm
fair.
thinking.
Well,
But you know what I'm getting at.
Yes, we did actually have people, we had the interviewees behind closed doors, but their wives sat out front. And their wives are typing them all the questions that we're asking them. So by the time they came out, they were like pros. They knew all the questions and how everyone else had answered. So I think that's something that just to be totally transparent. I mean, I think it's important. And I recently heard the saying, let's lead the commission from behind. That has to stop. And this is one way to do that. We need to take charge of how it's going to happen and happen correctly and in front of the public.
Well, based on what y'all just said, and I won't belabor the point here, but if I have 2 members of the public come and fly on the wall or peanut gallery, if you will, right, and watch and observe, they literally will have to turn off their cell phones and put them up in plain sight. So, they're literally observers. So they're in a room with me for 2, 3, 4 hours, and they're watching, potty breaks aside, phone stays turned off in sight. So there's no communication. There's nothing to foul. They're coming, they're sitting down with me, and they're watching the interviews, right?
It will be your interview and your rules. I don't know that legally, as the government, we can enforce those things, but you as the host, I think, can set some ground rules if you're going to have people join you.
That's the only way I could see something like that working. And just so that way one is not contaminating another, and there's no unfair advantages between the 5, right? That's the only way you can have transparency, fairness, and consistency all in the same batch. Okay. So timing, the top 5. So
Jennifer will be coordinating with you on a date that all of the candidates are available and you also are all available so that it all happens on the same day, ideally in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
We'll shoot for that. I don't know if it's possible, but we'll shoot for it.
And so if we can get these initial 5 interviews done in the next 2 weeks, say, how long, Commission, are y'all thinking for the second and final round interviews? No need to not strike while the iron's hot, right? So ideally, we'd like a higher decision in the next month. So next 2 weeks, we have down to our final second round interviews, and then
I think the tough part's going to be if you have to have people come in town, if they're out of the area. But I think a lot of it's going to depend, the timeline's going to depend on that.
okay.
I'll also add, that might be the time when you have your top candidates that you want to have a background investigation completed. If so, that's going to take a little bit of time. And the reason to do that is you don't want to go ahead and get all the way to the end and have a selection and then find out something that might not make this position eligible, because there is some language in the charter specific to the background investigation for the city manager.
Okay. So all y'all in the audience, I hope you're taking away some key factoids here. We're trying to be very transparent, and we want the public involvement as much as possible. So y'all don't feel like this is an inside deal or an inside job. Transparency is one thing that we are trying very, very hard in the city to improve upon and to be as open kimono as humanly possible. We're going to have our top 5 applicants going to get Zoomed interviews set up. and we will make sure that they're still interested in the hunt per se. And then once we do our initial Zoom interviews, we will take those out of those same 5. If all 5 are equally awesome, we will invite all 5 to come to Lynn Haven and interview in front of the public, and we'll have some public sessions there. If only 3 of the 5 hit a home run, well, then we'll have 3 of the 5 will be invited to come interview and do a final interview here in Lynn Haven. That you will get to meet those final people that show up and interview, and y'all will get to see them and hear them and shake their hands if you want to do so before the final hire decision is made. So any questions from the public as far as that goes? Bueller? All right, thank you. Commissioners, any further discussion there? No? All right, next up was public commentary revision discussion.
So I brought this up at last meeting, and if you look at how Panama City does theirs, this was brought up to me after their meeting when I brought this up at the last meeting. I said that they don't have public commentary. That's not entirely true. What they have is they call it audience participation, and so every commission meeting on audience participation, the only thing the public can talk about in that section is anything that's on the agenda. And then, but then there's no section where they can talk about anything that's not on the agenda. That's what the town hall is for. And that's kind of what I'm proposing is, because that's one of the complaints I get is you guys don't say anything when we come up and talk during public commentary because, you know, and anything you read will tell you not to do that because if you get in a back and forth, it can go south very, very quick. And what I would like to do is what Panama City does is do the same thing where they have audience participation. They can talk about whatever agenda item on there. And of course, you know, when an agenda item comes up by statute, you still have to allow commentary on that, which should be. And then once a month, whatever day that we determine is the best date and time, have a town hall where people come in, you set aside 2 hours. And once you get to the end of the 2 hours, it's done. And so they have people that come up, they talk for 3 minutes, and then the commission has time to interact with them and interact themselves as far as whatever the topic or the issue that they're talking about. And after they go through everyone, if there's still time left and someone wants to come up and talk again, then they can have a second opportunity to talk for another 3 minutes. But that's once everybody has already gone through. So that's what I'm proposing.
My question on this is more of like procedural. Is this something that the chair just needs to decide, or is this something we need to decide as a commission officially? I don't know.
I think it requires, if you're going to have a town hall, it will be a notice public hearing or notice public meeting, you'll need a quorum of you to be there. So I think there needs to be buy-in from the commission as to taking this route.
Yeah, I asked the same question to Ms. Myers, and now if it was like just a change on the agenda, like when you change public commentary to the end, that the chair can make that decision on his own. But since this is something totally different, then we as a commission have to decide that.
Okay. Commissioner Tender, any thoughts?
I have absolutely none right now.
Commissioner Perno.
I just, what we're doing is we're going to create a separate meeting, workshop, or town hall just for public commentary.
Collaborative discussion.
Not that we don't have the opportunity for public commentary on every agenda item as we serve the public and do these meetings. Not that we don't already have public commentary at every meeting and commentary on every agenda item.
No.
We're not giving the public enough opportunity to come.
Well, so what I'm proposing is you don't have public commentary, you have audience participation.
Which is an opportunity for the public to speak.
Only
We're just
on agenda
changing the
items.
names.
Only on agenda items.
So we're only going to talk on agenda items but not have public commentary at meetings?
at commission meetings. That's what the town hall would be for.
Why not give everybody the opportunity to come to these meetings? They come to give us their opinions about the city or about how we're doing, and then let's go on and face the agenda and get their opinions as the meeting rolls. I mean, we've had some pretty intense meetings in the time I've been a commissioner, and you know when the public wants to talk. So if we do have hot topic meetings, we're not going to let these people come and tell us how they feel.
That's what the town hall is for. That's what
They're not going to want to wait. They want to know what we're going to do when we're voting. Now, if we have a vote on an agenda item and they're going to wait till later in the month to come and tell us how they feel, I don't think that's
Have
right.
you watched the Panama City one?
I've seen a town hall online, one or two where they're all together. So
Right.
I haven't watched an actual meeting, but I've watched a town hall.
Right.
Yeah, and they do it. They don't do it in the chamber. They do it out in the lobby, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
And I envision that we would be sitting down here
Yeah.
and
I'm okay with doing a town hall. Okay, Jamie,
Right.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with adding it and doing a town hall. I don't mind, but I don't want to take away public commentary at the meetings either. I think we should keep it that way.
that's what would replace it, would be the town hall.
I just think we have these meetings where we have these topics where they want to let us know how they feel.
But normally if it's a hot topic, it's on the agenda.
Yeah, but they'll be here they'll be here both ways. The way I've already been here 7 years, and I'm willing to take it I'll take it the way it is and not change it, but add the town hall as well. I'm of the mindset that we give them every opportunity to talk.
I have a proposal. So, as many of the people that are sitting in here today know, there are quite a few of you that come to most meetings. And so I think what we should do is for next meeting, put it as an agenda item for discussion so that the public has a 2-week notice those that are here that normally come, and they can come up here and tell us if they're in favor of the town hall or not.
I brought it up last meeting.
Yeah, but it wasn't on the agenda. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't on the agenda until
All right,
we
we'll bring
added
it up on the next meeting then.
Yeah.
One other thing I will interject here, and I was trying to make sure that the whole team got inputs here before I said anything, is I am not opposed to the concept of a town hall. I kind of like that. Now, whether it replaces public commentary or supplements public commentary, to be determined, but I actually like, and maybe we don't even do it monthly, maybe we do it quarterly, that we have a quarterly town hall where, like to your point, Commissioner Ward, we get down in chairs and we literally sit kind of in a circle with the community members that show up. And we talk about whatever everybody wants to talk about, what's on their mind. And maybe it's not a hot potato issue, but maybe it's important issues, and we come, we listen, they feel heard, they honestly get feedback from us. If we have discussions, we kind of go back and forth. And
But you said the key word, feedback. That's the part that I get complaints about, that people don't feel like they're getting feedback when they come up there in public commentary.
Yeah.
And that's why I was proposing the town hall, because if you have a town hall that's just dedicated to that, then they can come up, have their 3 minutes, and then if we want to interact back and forth with them, we could.
after the 3 minutes. So they have their time, and then we can do Q&A, basically. Why do you think that? Or what do you think about this? And kind of back and forth, right? I actually like that concept. I honestly think folks would, the town hall concept, not so much to supplement public commentary or replace it, but in addition to, I think it's actually not a bad thing to at least try. We could try 1 or 2 guinea pigs and see how everybody likes it.
I think coming up with the correct time is very important, because we have played around with times since the beginning of time. And I think we have to make it available to everybody if we're going to do it. I also think, you're reaching for that thing right away. I also think that a lady out in the audience, when I first got here, She just looked at me and she said, just because Panama City does it, doesn't mean we have to. Lynn Haven is unique. I want to say that out loud because there is a lot of truth to that. As long as it's not being used as a measure of controlling the public, that's important, number one. And I think you can always give it a try and see how the turnout is. I mean, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. But then I'm going to ask for a raise. No, I'm kidding. So, yeah, I don't know.
So Panama City, and I'm not saying we got to do it this way, but they do it on Saturday at 8 in the morning. Hold on. I had another thing. Oh, and I remember when Panama City first brought this, and I'm not saying we got to do it Saturday 8 in the morning. I'm just saying that's when they do it. We can come up with whatever time that we want to do it. But I remember when this was first initially proposed at Panama City, when I first heard it, I'm like, that's never going to work. And then when I go watch them, you watch it. It's a lot. They almost have different people every single time, and it's very constructive conversation. They interact with each other. They seem to get a lot out of it. And so if you watch it, I just think it's very constructive, and I think we could do something like that.
I'm all about trying to do a guinea pig and a test run, and we'll see how everybody likes it. 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday's probably not going to do it for us, but maybe 2 or 3 in the afternoon on a Saturday probably would work a little better. Folks that can want to sleep in and get their grocery shopping done and whatnot can do so. But then again, if we do it on a Saturday, it would likely be just us commissioners and not the city staff because it's their day off.
Right. So what?
And how much more is it going to cost us? I'm sorry to interrupt.
So Panama City, they just have the commission, the city manager, and the city attorney. Now, I don't know if we are required to have the city attorney there, but if not, maybe we can just have the commission and city manager.
It's seriously worth thinking about, and at least doing one guinea pig. Us all trying it, see if we like it.
IT? Oh, an IT. Yeah, good point.
So something to think about. Are you proposing any kind of specific
We'll put it on the agenda next meeting and discuss it.
possible schedule?
Commissioner, work with that discussion of public commentary / town hall.
Yes.
Okay.
We all think about that. For those of you that'll be here next month or next meeting, think about it and tell us what you think and when might be a good time to do it. Saturday afternoons, maybe, Friday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, or excuse me, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon. I don't know. But when do y'all think might be a good time? And let's try a town hall and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we know it and we move forward. But if y'all love it and think this is great, we'll try it again. So, all right. Any more discussion before we move on to the last item before public commentary? Hearing none. Charter Review Committee deliverables and way ahead.
Yes, sir. From the Charter Review Committee, we had discussed the last time, they just need some direction from the commission on deliverables. Is it something you all want to meet to get the clerk position on the referendum by a certain date? What are you requiring from the Charter Review Committee so that they can bring that back to you all and accomplish what you're trying to accomplish? There is a lot of things contingent on there. If the city clerk position does not pass on the referendum, then there are some things in the charter that the Charter Review Committee is doing that they don't need to do. If it does pass, there's some other things that they need to look at as well. So just kind of need some direction from the commission on what you all want. Ms. Myers can go back to the deadlines required from the Supervisor of Elections office if we need to, but just want to hear what you all are expecting out of the committee and when.
Well, I think the first thing we need to determine is when do we want it on the referendum? And I'm a proponent in August, but I think that's the first decision we got to make.
I'm also an August fan.
Yeah, I'm very much in favor of August. Now, I do have a question. I don't know if this would be in Supervisor of Elections office question or not, but how Mr. Lightfoot said there's some stuff that is dependent upon the if a clerk is added. I don't know what the question would be. I don't know, Mr. Lightfoot, is the stuff that they're talking about that they have to do, would that be another question that would be on a referendum, or is it just some stuff to?
I'm going to defer to Ms. Meyer. She
Okay.
has the referendum questions.
So primarily, and David, I see that you're here, so you correct me if I'm misspeaking on behalf of the committee, but I believe their primary concern is wanting to know if the city clerk passes, and if it does, that they can make conforming changes to other sections of the charter. Because if it doesn't pass, there are some changes that don't need to be made to other sections of the city charter. The other big issue the Charter Committee is considering right now is referendums, requiring referendums for non-ad valorem assessments. That conversation is not fully baked yet. That's still in process. But if you're aiming for an August referendum, it gives them time to have those conversations and even to decide internally if they want to recommend that be something that be put to the voters sooner rather than later. So just having some expectations for them so that they know how to prioritize some of the things that are important to them for the committee to consider.
Just for the rest of the commission's situational awareness. So the day after I swore in as mayor on the 20th, on the 21st, I came in the next night and we had the Charter Review Committee here. And I spoke to them and thanked them for what they did. And then I specifically talked about the city clerk. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the city clerk deal, that is one piece that I campaigned on. I spoke about it the night I swore in. I firmly believe this is where we need to go as a city. It's kind of an organizational dual authentication where you have the city manager oversees people and operations, and you have the city clerk will handle policy and resources, particularly financial resources, procurement policy, all those things. They work together, but they're separate. And so for a lot of times when you hit certain dollar thresholds, they would both be required to sign. Both are direct reports to the commission. They work together, but separate of each other. And that's how you get that two-person authentication. And for those military vets in the room, it's a lot like having an ICBM, two missile officers sitting in a silo. They both got keys. And if the authentication code comes in and says launch, they're 30 feet apart from each other. They both have their own keys. They have to turn them at the exact same time. There's no way one person could physically turn both keys at the same time 30 feet apart, right? It's that kind of trust, but authenticate and verify. And so that's why in order to get a city clerk that reports directly to the commission, the charter has to be revised to do this. And then we've got a member of the Charter Review Committee who can speak to this as well. But in order to get, we have to go to the referendum, and we have to ask the voters of Lynn Haven, please approve this for us. Please approve us to have a city clerk. And I can definitely explain to here's why. I do not anticipate this not getting less than 80% approval. I really don't. It makes too much sense, and there's no negative to it. But it still has to go to the people. The people still have to say yes. People get the ultimate yay or nay. Assuming that it does move forward and gets approved, then the Charter Review Committee can go through the rest of the complete city charter and add the city clerk wherever it's appropriate. But if at the end of the day, the Lynn Haven voters go, no, Mayor, we don't want a city clerk, then they won't put all of the city clerk mentions in the city charter as they revise it. So it makes a lot of sense. My only question was, if we're going to take this and put it to a referendum anyway, and we're putting it to the people, it's not going to cost us any more money to have one question or two or three questions. And so for the other two or three questions, are there any other major important things? Basically, it's an opportunity to catch a ride on this referendum that we want to put before the people and ask them a yay or nay approval for within the context of charter review.
So on this, I will say that they are prepared to bring you ballot language on the city clerk immediately. They're not prepared to bring you ballot language or a recommendation on any other items on the city charter at this time. Now, that said, you are the commission. You are the one who calls for the referendum, and you are the one who ultimately approves the form of the ballot question. So if there is a question you want to put on the agenda, even if it has not been recommended by the Charter Review Committee, you have the authority to do that. Now, the Charter Review Committee, let me also say, wants to help you with your mission, which is why they're asking for direction so that they can get you the product you want. But I don't feel like I'm speaking out of turn when I say that right now they only have one recommendation, and that's on the city clerk.
The city clerk. And so for the August referendum, we need to have all of our stuff together and consolidated by
June 12th. June 12th is your deadline.
June 12th. And so if we back that off a month, at least 2 meetings for us, that would put the 1st of May is when, or give or take, the 1st of May, the Charter Review Committee would have to have any other items submitted to us for us to look at and go through.
And they're working diligently. I mean, they have lots of thoughts and lots of ideas. They're just not fully prepared to bring you ballot language on anything other than the city clerk right now.
Well, and if
They
we
can prioritize if you give them direction too, but
Well, if we say the end of April, or May 1st, that pressurizes the system, right? And that gives them another 2.5 months to get through what they need to get through. And David, do y'all meet once a month or twice a month?
Twice a month.
Twice. So 2.5 months, that's several meetings. I mean, that's 6 meetings. So
I absolutely want to leave space for the opportunity that they will bring you future questions to ask. And just at this moment, they don't have that. Having heard that that's something you would be interested in, they will be motivated to keep working. And if they are prepared, they'll bring it to you.
yes, ma'am.
I have a question in, I don't even know if it's behind or ahead or whatever, but I'm really, when it comes to the clerk, the city clerk, I'm really concerned that we have a separation of powers. For example, finance, Kiki reports to Chris. I think the clerk should report to the commission, but I don't think they should be intertwined. I don't think the finance, you keep saying clerk/finance or whatever. I don't know if that's what you mean or if you don't mean. And then I have one more statement to make. When you talked about having citizens or 2 or 1 or whatever with you during the interviews for city manager, I think they should be the same citizen for all of the interviews. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So I'm looking right at Gap Parker right now. I'm going to pick on you for a minute, ma'am. If I invite Gap Parker to sit through the interviews with me, she's literally coming to my house or my office, and we're going to sit there in front of my computer for the entire 4 or 5 hours. She can go to the bathroom. I'll gladly give her water and that kind of thing. But she's going to sit there with me with her phone off, and she's going to be a fly on the wall and listen to all 5 of my interviews. And then she can come out and go, yep, Mayor Lowry asked the same 3 questions, all of them. These numbers 1, 3, and 5 hit it out of the park. 2 and 3, or 2 and 4, not so much. Right? She can come out, and you have at least a public observer who can say, yep, legit, love it. And that's my thought for transparency. But just to clarify, so it would depend on what we as a commission, the duties of the city clerk, what we define on. The Panama City and Panama City Beach both do it a little different, and I think we need to look at both of them. One of them, it makes the city clerk/treasurer. So literally the clerk handles the paperwork and the resources. They are the bean counter. And that's totally separate than the city manager who handles the people and the day-to-day, making the machine work, repairing roads, all that kind of stuff. Sewers, whatever.
With this, if the city clerk position that you all create is the clerk/treasurer, the finance department would report to the clerk, not the city manager.
They'd be separate.
That's what takes it.
So it's dual, but literally, let's just say Chris in his role right now, he would handle personnel and operations, and the city clerk would handle procurement, acquisition stuff, and also the treasury. He or she, the clerk, would handle the treasurer duties for the city, which is basically Kiki's job, the finance. Kiki would be working with that city clerk as the finance director. They also have procurement, all the administrative policies, information requests, all the kind of administrative apparatus, if you will, would be the clerk's domain, not the city manager's domain. And both the city manager and the city clerk would both direct report to us.
This would be my recommendation is go have a sit down with the city clerk at Panama City. And then you can go to any other city. I think Panama City is the only one that does it where finance it's also the treasurer. But I sat down with her and I was able to learn quite a bit sitting down with her. So that would be my recommendation. If you got questions and kind of want to see how it works over there, that would be my recommendation.
And that's really a question for August or after the referendum, because the charter isn't that granular as to the job description. The job description will be up to you. The charter is going to establish the position and sort of the guardrails that reports to the city commission. It's compensated and appointed by the city commission. It sits as a peer to the city attorney and city manager. What the clerk actually does in large part and specifically will be up to y'all.
Right. And to that point, Commissioner Tender, the referendum would be, shall the city of Lynn Haven establish a city clerk reporting directly to the city commission? You know, because right now it's basically, we have the city attorney and we have the city manager. And those are the only two by charter direct reports we have. This would establish that formal third. And then we as a commission, if based on, you know, we look at Panama City Beach, local municipalities, what works, and then we kind of come up with our own flavor based on educated, you know, feedback from them. Then we create our own first city clerk. But as soon as the referendum, assuming it passes and the people give us the thumbs up, then we now have the ability, we have the people's approval, we can bring that person on. And the charter committee can go ahead and finalize the charter revisions they'll be proposing to us, but we can put that new city clerk that the voters authorized for us directly to work. That will help us with that accountability and transparency, right? Because I envision any dollar amounts over a certain threshold, even if it doesn't have to come to the commission for approval, I still anticipate the city clerk and the city manager both having to sign off on those things, right? To senior leader direct reports to us, even as though we've already authorized the expenditures over a certain threshold, the city manager and the city clerk would have to sign off on that. Authentication signatures, right? That way you have a buddy system keeping each other and every process accountable with big dollar items. Because one's counting the beans and the other one's using it for operations. Any questions?
I don't know, the way I see this going down is you'll have the one referendum in August, then we're going to have a part two. And when is part two going to happen? You got the election in November. I don't know if that's going to give them enough time to do the part two. And then you probably have to wait for the next election, which would be in April 2027. As far as priorities, I know when this whole thing first came up, I brought up the whole thing about city clerk. I really didn't have any other priorities as far as the charter or anything like that. That was my big focus area. So I really can't think of, you know, anything particular, you know.
I haven't, for the record, I haven't tagged in with anything specific. I've said if there are anything specific in the charter review you want to do, bring it to the commission and let's talk about it. But ultimately, we have to approve that. But it's literally a free ride to the referendum, if you will. If we're going to have it anyway for the city clerk, it's not going to cost us any more to have one question versus 3 or 4. Yeah, so that's the prevailing thought. But the city clerk is important. The rest of it would just be gravy. All right. Any more discussion on charter review at this point? Y'all have the deliverable you want? And David, you can speak up too as a member of the charter committee here. We're looking at August for the time to do this with the primaries. That's when we're going to have most voters before the November midterms. We're looking to have that. That would mean y'all, the charter review committee, would have to have your stuff to us by the end of April, 1st of May. That gives us 6 weeks or so to do what we need to do as a committee, refine the language, and get it to Nina Ward, the supervisor of elections.
They're going to be considering the resolution and ballot language, cementing the city clerk. They've already looked at the ballot language, but I'm putting it all together in legislation for them to consider at their next meeting. So they'll be ready on that one piece.
Did we ever look at cost for having it at the August?
I did not follow up to get a specific price. Her email to me indicated it would cost a little less to hold it in August because the county took care of a lot of things already. The county was already incurring those costs. but I don't have an indication of what the cost would be to the city specifically for that one.
Can you follow up on that and let us know at the next meeting? Thank you. With it already being a big primary and you're going to get most voters on either side of the political aisle, it's literally just extra language on the ballots they're already printing, but for specifically Lynn Haven voters, right? So that's the best time to do it. All right. Anything else before we go to public commentary? And kind of a long one, but we're getting there. All right. So we are now at public commentary. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signed up. And then once these 5 have had their time to speak, if there's anyone else that wants to volunteer, we can certainly, we'll do an all call. So the first one is Mr. George Hines. Come on up, sir. And for the record, I like your Army retired hat. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. George Hines, 1603 Rhode Island Avenue, Lynn Haven, Florida. I have come up here at least every other meeting. I've been missing for a couple of meetings because I travel a lot. I have told you, commissioners, many times that you got elected by the citizens to make decisions. All the banter about decisions, just make them and deal with them. If it's right or wrong, that's up to you. That's not up to the rest of the people in the room. Now, I come up to ask a question about the $13 million loan I heard about. Before, the old leadership was trying to pay off debts from Hurricane Michael and all that other kind of stuff. And we're not going to go back into debt just to get something done because we paid taxes for the last 3 years under a referendum they made to add stormwater fee, a tax that we pay. So if the $13 million for stormwater or for sewer, someone said for sewer, someone said for stormwater. So I'm trying to figure out what it is, and maybe y'all can let me know that. And if it's a regular loan, a revolving loan, or whatever that is, you need to explain it to the public because you keep talking about being transparent. So if it's out there, you need to make sure everybody knows it's out there, not just you 7 people. That's what I mainly came to talk to you about. Now, the thing with Panama City and the thing with Lynn Haven is 2 different municipalities, 2 different sets of people. So I have said to Jamie more than one time that we don't have to follow other people in the way they do things. We can be the original one and do everything we want to do our way and let them follow us. We had a water problem I had with the city manager about this fee that you have to pay if you get a bad water bill. And you say, my water bill ain't right. They say, oh, yes, it is. So you pay $50 to have your water meter reread. And if this problem is on their side, they eat the $50. But if it's on the citizen side, the citizen have to pay $50. And I told them that was too high. And someone told me, it's comparison to other cities. You have more senior citizens over here than they are doing in other cities. And we don't make the money in Bay County, they make in Alabama, Georgia, and other places. So all that need to be taken into consideration and stop following people in lead. Thank you.
Hey, so, Mr. Hines, if I could say one thing, I don't know if you noticed the last meeting, we did lower that to $25.
No, I was out. I travel a lot, so I wasn't here the last meeting. And thanks for, but congratulations on your assignment, because I wasn't here for that either. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, next. It's a very flowery signature. I think this says Michelle Sutton. Michelle Smith. I'm sorry, ma'am. Come on up, ma'am.
Oh, again, I'll reiterate, we are not the rest of Bay County. I'm glad that we have had the opportunity to change and go forward and that people take control of our city government. We need to stay in control and let the rest of them follow us. Corruption is everywhere. And I hope we don't have it here. I want to address the flock cameras. I know 2 people addressed it and looked into it. I advise y'all to look into it because it violates your 4th Amendment right. The cases have been upheld by the Supreme Court, Carpenter versus United States, because of privacy. It's like the boiling frog. They may not have gotten your description right, but it's let me put a little bit more. These cameras are accessible and hackable. They are used to stalk people. So look at do your research. There's plenty of it on YouTube of what's going on. It may not be dangerous right now, but it can be. One last point. You know, because we were able to take control of our city government and power to the people, I'm gonna open the door. Mr. Lightfoot is part of the old system. And I want y'all to, I mean, he was in tight with the people of the past. I want y'all to look at that. I'm not accusing or doing anything, but that is something, good old boy politics and things like that, it needs to be a thing of the past. And what was needs to stay what was and not be brought forward. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Christy McElroy. Good evening.
I won't go through what I sent y'all today specifically and hand it out to you. I would like to have a conversation with each and every one of you separately about this. The main thing is it's all about process. And your employees are your most valuable asset. I think we all would agree to that. And they deserve respect. And that means if you have to do something as far as termination, you want to make sure it's done correctly. Now, talking about process and solutions, one thing you could set up is another board, a board that would be a civil service board. And a civil service board, if an employee was terminated, would have a right to come to this board, and you each would nominate someone from the community. It's just your average person, maybe a business owner, et cetera. And if that person was terminated, the next thing that could happen is that person could ask the board to hear their side of the story. And what that does is it decreases your opportunities for lawsuits because that board is there to hear the other side of the story, which is your employee. And then from there, they render a decision. From that decision, you review the information, and then you make a decision. You have counsel there as well to make sure that things stay in order. Now, you talk about Panama City. I talked to a city commissioner that was on the city commission for 20 years. This was a good thing. Have to give your employees safety and an opportunity for them to express themselves. So I don't believe in being a follower. And I will say in Bay County, I went to the Mexico Beach meeting this morning. It's very cordial. And general comment was encouraged. And so, because we're all a neighborhood, and maybe we have some ideas that you haven't had, and vice versa. I mean, I think about James Finch coming to a meeting and saying he was paid 3 times. That was during general comment. How many good things have happened that y'all didn't know about because of general comment? So I agree, you want to have an efficient meeting, but we're all here too. We're doing it for free. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I think this is Jerry Parker. Ma'am, come on up. Good evening.
Hello, Commission. Thank you, Mayor, for calling me out. I can adjust my schedule to accommodate your request to sit in on those interviews, and I would be glad to do it, by the way. One of the other things that I really want to bring up is, first of all, I agree with the no smoking and vaping in city parks. That's a definite. And also, I do agree with us getting a new building official here in Lynn Haven and not using Bay County. I really think that is a better thing for us to do. There's building inspectors and building officials. Mike Gordon is a wonderful building official. He's got many certifications that have been done by the state of Florida. The other thing that I would like to talk about, of course, is I wholeheartedly disagree with Jamie's opinion to do a town hall once a month to do public commentary. I think we need to be doing public commentary appropriately, and it should be done appropriately. But like I had said before, I would like it to be at 7. You wanted to be towards the end, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with us taking away public commentary and doing it in a different entity. I don't think that's a good thing for the city of Lynn Haven and the citizens of Lynn Haven. So I'm hoping that that is the appropriate thing to go forward on. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And last but certainly not least, Mr. David Schweitzer. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. David Switzer, 323 Alexander Drive. A couple of positive things. I wanted to thank you for the tone of this meeting. It's so much easier to focus the way that this meeting has been conducted, and I feel like that starts at the top. So thanks, Mayor. I appreciate that. Number two is with the things that I talk about flock, I don't want to be painted with the brush that I don't support law enforcement. I 100% do. I hope with spring break coming up that everyone is safe, and hope only the people come here that want to enjoy the beach. The other individuals with firearms and that, I hope stay home. With that being said, there was a social experiment conducted where people are reporting back to you about their flock data. And they're saying like, oh, we thought this thing was so smart. We thought that it was tracking us. But in reality, it was showing bad information, showing the wrong make, model, and color of the vehicle. So here we have people who support flock saying flock data can't be trusted. So I find that pretty ironic. It's found that 10 to 20% of the flock results have bad information. What is the risk of that? What is the risk of a flock camera, the data on there showing bad information? Well, let me tell you about a little girl in Colorado who was just sitting there in her van with her sisters and a cousin and her mother. They're just trying to figure out where they want to go get their nails done. And all of a sudden, the police department surrounds their vehicle, pulls mom out of the SUV, cuffs her, and put her face down in the parking lot. The other officers usher the children out, all minors, put them on the ground with weapons drawn on them. And the kids didn't know that mom stole this vehicle. There was no investigation done prior to this happening. The police trusted the flock information, and it was wrong information. And what did the police do? Oopsie, they're still working there. The little girl's name was Love. She's 6 years old, wearing a pink tiara. She was one negligent discharge, one accidental discharge, one law enforcement official misreading a hand motion from being shot. So I hope when you see these things, I hope when you hear these things, you're not just thinking, oh, and discounting that flock does not have right information. That data ended up in these people's inbox. It was so wrong. So I hope that you guys will continue to think about flock. I know I've communicated with our future chief of police about this, Blanchard. And I want more democratic policing, because right now there's no guardrails. So that's what I'm hoping for. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. All right. We'll go open general now. Miss Sandy, I saw your hand first, so come on up, ma'am. Good evening.
First meeting with you as our mayor, and you've done great. This, like David said, I love the way it's gone. What I'm going to speak about is the permit department. I agree with Judy 100%, and I'll tell you, it's not just my opinion. My husband was a contractor of a multi-million-dollar contracting company in Atlanta. I was his secretary, also his bookkeeper, and I have dealt with permit departments out the yang-yang, and I'm telling you, when you get a county versus a city doing it, the county is absolutely just overrun with requests. I've also dealt with my husband building local here in Bay County, so I've had to deal with Bay County Permit Department. I was also the assistant to the county manager, and I sat in on all the different meetings, and it was a zoo when it came to the permits. They're overwhelmed. And, you know, when it was brought up that there was over $300,000 spent on the person that was the permit director or whatever, that was during Michael. And of course it was going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. But as a normal rule, a local person that is over the permitting of a city, I feel, cares about his city. He's going to do his residents first. When you're in line at Bay County, you got a long line ahead of you. So I feel like if Michael Gordon wants to do it, why not? I mean, he has years of experience, and, you know, he loves Lynn Haven. He lives in Lynn Haven. Also wanted to say a big thank you to Pat Perno. Thank you for your comments about the public comments versus the town city hall, whatever, the town hall. Also, Sam, I appreciate you and Judy coming out about that. I think that both of them are needed. And I also am I go to a lot of the Panama City things because I live in Panama City. And both of those are necessary, but not one over the other. I feel like, you know, you need to keep things local. And doing that helps local people say what's on their mind and what you're doing. But thank you to everybody. Y'all, I love this meeting. It's my first one.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, next. Saw you first and then you, sir. Mr. Bashir, good evening.
Good evening. Couple things. I think you may be overcomplicating the city clerk thing. You're going to create a city clerk position, and that position reports to the commission, as does the city manager. Y'all can set those job descriptions and then review them annually or however you want to do it. But if you say, well, the city clerk's going to be the city clerk treasurer, this is their job. If you put all that in the charter, it gets complicated and it ties your hands in the future if you want to change things that aren't working correctly. You may be better off to just say, we're going to have a city clerk report to the commission, and the commission will set the job duties. That's my comment on the city clerk thing. The public commentary, I'm not a big fan of public commentary, to tell you the truth. I get up here and talk a lot too much. But if I have an issue at my house, or let's say I wanted to have chickens, which were not allowed in the city at one point, I don't have the opportunity, if I can't talk about that to the commission in a public setting, besides the town hall, I want a more formal public setting, like a commission meeting, to bring that up to everyone and to the public at the same time, because you're going to get a different set of people that go to the town halls than you get at a formal commission meeting. I do think my question there is, how do I as a citizen go about getting something put on the agenda so I can talk about it at the commission meetings? That's my only concern about only allowing the public to speak on agenda items. We already have that option. We speak on each agenda item as it comes up if we need to. The last thing I have is, Are we able to get a copy of the voting spreadsheet that's been done thus far? So we know who's did what?
Yes, it's public record.
Okay, do I need to do a public records request or? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations on your appointment. Sir, come on up.
Good afternoon, evening, commissioners. My name is Joe Footen. I was the facility maintenance director for the city as of on the 23rd of last month. I was dismissed based on ability to make a judgment call, or judgment calls was the reason I was given for termination. I felt like ever since 2024, I've had a target on my back from Jennifer Hodges. I had a medical marijuana card, and I asked her prior to me having the card and the commission's voting on it, you know, hey, what about the people that have this card already? Was there any, nope, this is the way it's going to be. Deal with it. Well, I chose not to deal with it. I chose to keep my card and not say anything. Reason being, my pride. I was so proud of this city for the work that I did. I didn't want anybody thinking that I did something that was stupid or that my character doesn't count because of a medical condition. It's not really fair. Now, I ask for my suspension to be, or for my termination to be relooked at. I'm going to tell you why. On 7/22 of 25, commissioners, Mr. Warwick, Mr. Peebles, and Pat Perno was sitting here, and you all talked about what you were going to do with Chris Lightfoot being the interim city manager. If he was going to be able to fire somebody because of retribution from the past. Now, I'm asking the commissioners right now, were you asked about me? Were you told about me? And were you given the full story of why I was let go? I had somebody clip my vehicle, break my mirror on the truck. I paid $10 for it, but what gets me was I was 67 feet away from the scene of the accident. I had no idea who hit me. The driver goes around the corner, pulls over here in an RV, and does a police report. I didn't know anything. I waited a half an hour, 67 feet from the intersection to where this guy is 150. So I'm the one that got hit. It's my fault that I make the accident report. I'm sorry. In the scheme of things, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I should have reported it. I get that. But over a $10 mirror that I replaced, I really didn't think that was very fair. But I also paid $450 for no contestant because you know why? I have 0 points on my license, and I like to keep it that way. So when we talk about people being victims of the city and the abuse and the power, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm probably one of those people right now. And I'm asking you commissioners from the heart to rethink this decision. You know, I was 3 years out, maybe, from retiring. But what you guys really didn't know, that's it. I apologize. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Any other public commentary tonight? Sarlene, come on up.
Arlene Harrison. I know you guys have gone around and around throughout the years on when to do public commentary and whether to do it. I appreciate Pat bringing that forward because I agree with that. We come to this commission to see what you're doing and also to a lot of times to bring something forward that you're not talking about. If it's not on the agenda, like when we came to between 12 and 13, we had at least 3 or 4 more agenda items that hadn't been put on the agenda yet. But you saw that that was that you needed to do that, so you went ahead and did that. But if I was wanting, as a public person, to comment on one of those things that wasn't on the agenda, where would I be? I wouldn't be able to say anything. Of course, people have brought things up to the commission that they hadn't even been thinking about, or something new that had occurred. So naturally, I feel like public commentary needs to be there. It's a general thing. Now, when we came down, when I saw the whole agenda and saw where you put public commentary, when we first came to public commentary, number 13, I began to think that you put it on as an agenda item because you spent so much time talking about whether it should be on the agenda. So I began to think, well, I guess it's just an agenda item. But when I first saw it, and I will bring this up, I'll tie it up, is that when I first saw it at number 13, and then the mayor's report and all the other reports after it, that is, I think, answers part of the question that public commentary, then in your reports, you can respond to comments that people have made. And that's where previously we've had all those reports and then public commentary. Well, then you don't have a chance to comment. So I think that is how the public feels a lot of times left out. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Arlene. All right. Any other public commentary tonight? Bueller? All right. Well, if there is none, we'll go into item number 14, and I will be brief. Mayor's report. 3 weeks on the job now. I really appreciate the city staff being very hospitable and hosting to help me get settled in. I'm still drinking through a fire hose. We spent the better part of a week up in Tallahassee, 3 full days, which was great. Getting all of the state mandated training squared away and getting settled in. A lot of issues going on, a lot of moving parts, but a lot of good people here. And I appreciate all the kind comments and feedback as well. Very proud to be here and be a part of this team. And we've got a great commission team. We all have very diverse views and perspectives, but we come together and we try to do our best for the city of Lynn Haven. And at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to be doing, trying to make our community better as a team, both the elected officials as well as the public at large. So special thanks to everybody. I really appreciate y'all and all the help y'all are doing getting me up to speed. And that's all I've got. So we started last week with Commissioner Perno. So this week, Ms. Tender, we'll start with you, and we'll go this way tonight.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I have a couple things to bring up that have been brought to my attention by the public. And I'm happy to report that they weren't just given to me. They were given to some private citizens as well. The first item that I want to discuss, because I think it's so important, is the fact that we had our cameras disconnected in this office behind us. And I feel that the safety of our employees is much more important than that. I mean, if, this building is filled with gunshot-proof windows everywhere, even up on the second floor. Somebody was thinking about that when they built the building. God forbid. What if somebody just walked through that front door and came in there and just started shooting? I'd like to at least think we have a camera that we can hold somebody accountable. And I just think for the employees' safety, I think it's really important. And I think it should be reconnected. And I won't say any more about that. But the other question I have is, it's also brought to my attention that Joe Footen had a police officer come to his home on a day he was off work to tell him he was terminated. And I would like an explanation to that, and if that's common.
Yes, ma'am. He actually was not off work. He actually called in. Actually, did not call in. He sent a text in a group WhatsApp. So I did have Deputy Chief Enfinger take a dismissal letter out to Mr. Footen to ensure that he received it. Chief Enfinger decided to do that himself instead of sending an officer. So we did hand deliver that to him.
Okay. So it couldn't wait until the next day he came back to work, or?
No, ma'am. It was happening that day.
Okay. And I just got an email before I got here. It's all the same stuff. And so I have to ask the hard questions. Is it true that, Jennifer, you went to all the people that reported to Joe Futon and told them that he had a marijuana medical card?
So, no, ma'am.
I'm asking her, did you go and say that?
No, ma'am.
So
Not that
that's
he
a
had
lie. That's a lie.
Exactly. I did not say he had a medical marijuana card.
You said what? You told him
I
that
said
he had a,
He was suspended for 30 days for being positive with, testing positive.
okay. So you didn't use the word medical card. You didn't break any kind of HIPAA laws.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I've gotten emails from his staff, and that's what they're telling me. Okay, that's the only questions I had. But I really wish you would consider hooking the camera back up.
So we have cameras on every door of this building of who goes in and out. There was a camera in the city manager suite that I did have removed, and that camera will not be going back up. No, ma'am.
Okay, and why did you have it removed?
Because the camera can sit there and look right at the city manager's desk and the computer and everything. It was put up by former staff, and there's no reason for a camera to be here when you can see everybody that comes in and out of the office.
Okay, just for clarification, so I'm being transparent, I received an email that you had it removed because you were tired of public requests on what was on the video, the same one that caught Vicky going in and out. That's not true? You didn't say that?
Sure. I don't know what I said, no, ma'am, but we took the camera down.
Okay. Thank you. That's my report.
Commissioner Ward.
I don't have a whole lot. This one's mainly for the commission. Just a reminder, I think almost everyone's going 9 March. The Bay County League of Cities is having their quarterly dinner at Uncle Ernie's. We'll have our guest speaker, Andrew Starr, who is the one that's overseeing the design and build of the hospital over in Panama City Beach. So it should be some good information, even though it's not in London Haven, but it's something that does affect us. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Peebles.
Don't have much to report. I was, spent time looking at the city manager applications, doing research online and all that stuff. I enjoy doing that kind of thing. And I was out of town this past week, so I wasn't able to, meet with citizens like I like to do. So I apologize for that. But I've tried to stay in touch via email and phone calls best I can. So I appreciate everyone that reached out to me. And that's all I have this week. I do want to say thank you, Mr. Bashirs, for volunteering for that board. Thank you, Mr. Clubs, for volunteering for the Planning Commission. I greatly appreciate the time that you all put into that. It's the information that you all bring to us is invaluable. I really do appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. And did I hear you say, even though you're kind of a cyber ninja, you're getting a taste of HR? Commissioner Perno. Last but certainly not least.
Thank you, Mayor. I just I want to thank everybody for being here. I appreciate the positive comments based on my comments about public commentary, and I'm all for all of it. And I would like to expound on earlier in the meeting when I did say my feelings about our selection process for the city manager. Now I'm all for interviewing our finalists and whatnot, but you asked my feelings and I gave them to you, and I feel like that's how I feel. I do know that from comments that were just recently made, I've had several meetings with the interim city manager, and he's been nothing but upfront about his decisions and where he's going. So I feel like I'm informed when he makes what he's done recently, and he's told me of certain personnel changes or whatever, and sometimes you got to support someone who is is in that seat making those quote unquote hard decisions. So, well, I'm not trying to say I will go through with the process. It's just that, and you just see us spending time and spending money on something that might end up being not foreseeable. So we'll see where everything shakes out. So with that being said, I'd like to thank all of our city employees, all of our staff. Thank you for your service, Joe. I appreciate everything that you've done over the years. Thank you, David, serving on the board. And thank you to our new board members, Chris Clubs, Johnny Bashirs. Appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. And Commissioner Perno, and for the whole commission, I will always shoot straight with y'all and be very respectful. Golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. I always ask you to shoot straight, and Pat, you talk straight from the heart.
Yes, sir.
And that's all we can ever ask. I appreciate you being honest and going, look, this is what I'm thinking.
I don't have a PhD, but I could tell you what I'm thinking,
Absolutely. I appreciate your
sometimes
candor.
not in the best way. I don't articulate well, so.
I appreciate your candor more than you know, sir. With that, we now have our interim city manager's report.
Yes, sir. I see Mr. Hines has left, but in answer to his question, the $13 million is the resolution that you all approved at the December, I believe that was the 12th or 13th meeting, for the city to submit the application for the SRF loan for the headworks. So that is for the sewer department. That is just to approve the resolution for us to submit the application. That is not accepting the loan dollars. That still has to come back before the commission if that's what we decide to do. I'm going to defer to Ms. Roman during the finance report to answer the comment that was made about during Hurricane Michael and the $300,000, but that was not during Hurricane Michael. We talked about the camera. Ms. Tender, this is Mr. Futen's personnel policy. We can talk about it after the meeting, but I stand behind the decision. Would stand behind it again. I was the one that signed the letter, not Ms. Hodges, and whatever questions you have, we can get together after the meeting for that. We've had lots of leaks and broken pipes due to the freeze. So the utilities guys have been out running around, turning water off for busted pipes. I've been getting a lot of calls on that. The Kane Playground is nearing completion. It looks great over there. We can't wait to debut that. Another shout out to Justin Ward. He's done another great season. We've got 80 teams with 1,300 participants, which includes players and coaches for baseball and softball for the spring season. Opening day is going to be March 7th. So I talked to the mayor this morning about emceeing that event. Make sure you all mark your calendars and come out for that. It'll be another great opening day. We are hosting a USSSA tournament February 14th at the sports complex. For those of you that know baseball and softball, USSSA is one of the big ones. So we're glad that we're attracting that to our complex. We did receive an EMS grant for some new AEDs. We will be bringing that to the commission once we get the grant agreement to accept that grant. That is to put all the AEDs throughout the city, especially at the sports complex and the gym, so that we can get the proper size ones for kids as well. And that's going to be about a $6,000 match for the city. So very lucky to get that grant. We did have first aid kits installed throughout the city. They're in break rooms throughout city facilities, the gym and everything where we need them. So we contract with UniFirst. They will come do an inventory on those kits and keep them filled as items are depleted out of there. So we now have the proper signage up and all of that for those. Chief Blanchard started Monday. He is actually in his transition course out at Gulf Coast. He's got Monday through Thursday of getting that done, and then he will take his transition test to get Florida certified. But he will be here in the office starting next week in the chief role. We've got the Community Health Fair Thursday, February 19th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Senior Center, so come out for that. The art will start being displayed next week for Black History Month. The awards will be presented 4:30 on Tuesday, February 24th before the commission meeting. So make sure you come by, see the artwork, and do the judging for all of that. And then a shout out to one of our animal control officers, Matt Phillips. He actually was invited to Tallahassee to the FWC, by FWC to the Capitol to speak on behalf of the Florida Animal Protection and Advocacy Association. Matt represented the city well. He had a lot of great things to say. I talked to him this afternoon. He said it felt like he was making a change with what they said. It was a very positive meeting. And for those of you that haven't got to meet Matt, you would know exactly why he was speaking on trapping if you met him. The guy will go jump in a stormwater pond to retrieve a snake. He'll jump on the roof over here to get a duck out of a pond that got out of a pond. He's a great asset to our animal control team. And if you get the chance to definitely speak to him, he will keep you entertained. But we will have that in the newsletter as well.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. And by the way, the animal control team, Courtney and the two Matts, they do an amazing job. Can't say enough good things about them. All right, Ms. Kiki, you are up with the finance report.
Yes, sir. Let me clarify a little bit about the comment about $300,000. That was for an outside contractor who helped us during 21 and 22, and their payment arrangement was very similar to what we have with the county currently. So they received a percentage of the permits that were issued during that time. So $314,000 to an outside contractor. It was not a city employee. You have questions about that? Questions about the checklist? I've also included a number of reports. These are preliminary, having to do with the end of the fiscal year. I would like to give you a couple of highlights. I think I mentioned last time that we will have a surplus in general fund. That is great news. I'm thrilled to death about that. And it is primarily because of vacant positions that were not filled during the year. Approximately $408,000 is attributed to the police department, $100,000 for the building department because we haven't filled those positions. On the counter side of this, as you've heard me state several times before, general fund is going to have to make the debt service payment on the 2019 bond. That's $2,700,000 a year. So while we have a surplus in 25, that money will have to go to help pay that bond down. Currently, Fund 101, Hurricane Michael Disaster Recovery Fund, is in a negative cash position of just about $1 million. So, well, great news in general fund, that money is going to have to go in to reimburse the Hurricane Michael Fund, $5 million. Do you have questions about that? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Two quick follow-ups, City Manager. I want to give a special shout out to Deputy Police Chief Steve Enfinger. I think he's still back there in the back hiding. There he is. Sir, thank you for your transition with incoming Chief Blanchard coming in. You as the deputy chief had to basically wear two hats and keep the team running and moving the ball down the field, responding, taking care of citizens. You did so seamlessly, and I want to publicly thank you. You're now working to ensure that Chief Blanchard's transition onto the team is going as smooth as possible. And I just want to say thank you sincerely for doing that. My hat's off to you, and I'm very glad you're still a big part of the police leadership team, city leadership team. Keep it going, get your new boss up to speed. And we've got a lot of TLC we need to do to take care of our boys and girls in blue, our men and women in blue. And we'll be looking for the two of y'all to help us do that the right way. So thank you, sir. And one other quick thing. Chris, would you email Mr. Hines? Do you have an email for him?
Mr. Hines does not do email, but I'll reach out to him.
Okay, if you would, and just follow up with him. Since he asked for that during public commentary, I wanted to be respectful of that and make sure we got
I'll get up with him.
Thank you, sir. All right, and last but certainly not least, Ms. Myers with the city attorney report.
I have no report.
You have no report. Probably the best report any of these folks have heard all night. With that, if there are no other saved rounds or Hail Marys, this meeting's adjourned.